Josh asked a question that I think I'm no expert on it, Josh, but I think I can help you. He goes, just wanted to know your opinion on HYROX as a sport and training style, and whether you think you could suitably prepare for it with mainly kettlebells. Okay, HYROX, for those, that's HYROX. HYROX is a cool contest that's been going on in Europe. I don't know if it's in the States yet. I don't know. But basically, it breaks out, and I'm going to give the general one that I looked at and I saw. This is the general one. You run 1,000 meters. So if you go to a high school, if you go to a track, that's 2.5 laps, okay? I think I'm right. Yeah. And then you do a little circuit, or you do a little test. You do on the websites they talk about, it could be ski erg, sled pushes, burpees, broad jumps, rowing, farmer's carry, sandbag lunges, and wall balls. So kind of that family of things we saw in the last 20 years that people like to measure. And you can do it as teams. The thing I do like about and the way they organized it is that the groups they stagger the starts. So there are people running almost constantly. So, like me, I'm doing my first one. I've never seen the event before. There's no person way out ahead of me, taking first place. It is possible that, I'm running my last 1,000K and the winner maybe zips past me, but it's only from here to there. I like that. You can also do teams too, and I think it's a wonderful idea. Okay, couple things. When you do talk to people who know what they're talking about with this sport, and I wouldn't be one of them, there is an emphasis on making sure you have your squat locked down, your push press locked down, and your reverse lunge locked down, because a lot of the events, wall ball is a push press with the med ball, and the med ball takes off. To me, when you have something like sleds and farmer walks and ski erg in a system, plus all that running, it's 8K if you do it all by yourself. Mixing that with squats or sleds, you're going to need a certain kind of fitness. The first thing I would recommend is get yourself used to running followed by a physical act. Now, I went to Skyline College, and one of the cool things about Skyline in the 1970s, Skyline was one of the first places, I think in the United States, to have something called a PAR course. And what a PAR course is, and I love them, I still think they're one of the best ways to train, is that you go to the first station, and it is, jump, you jump over this thing, and there's little standers on the stuff, 15 times. Then you run to the next station, and maybe it's a incline, decline, sit up. Next station is pull-ups, and you run. The PAR course will prepare. I think the PAR course idea is what you got to keep in the back of your mind preparing for these HYROX events. So you've got to get used to combining running with a change and something high intensity, if the station is push press and you got to, push press 50 kilos 20 times, that's a huge jump. And that's a huge change in what you're being asked to do. So the first thing I would do if you're training, and I love your idea about using kettlebells, is the first thing I do is I put your kettlebells in your car, and I always use my seat belts to hold them. Go to a place, a park, a beach, a track, somewhere, and I would do loops. So I would get used to, I would run, grab the bells, do double front squats. Okay, this is just starting. Put the bells down, run, make a loop so you can see your kettlebells and no one steals them. Come back and do push jerks, push presses. Run, come back and do these reverse lunges. Run, come back. And get used to doing run, kettlebell. Run, kettlebell. Remember, folks, Josh's question specifically was, could you prepare with it with mainly kettlebells? My thought is yes. Now, if you're in a gym setting, you could do other things. You could do treadmill, kettlebell, you could row, kettlebell. You could skier, skier. Or you could either march in place or run in place, depending on what you got. If it's weather related, you're going to have to do what you got to do. But the idea of running and building up those runs with the lifting in between, I love the idea how your body's going to have to, kind of change gears a lot. And I think, and I talk about coaching American football and some other things in my life. I'm always trying to explain gear changes. It's like, you don't just run, you run and then you hit somebody. You run and you get hit. You run, rugby, it's, you might be the fastest person on the field, but if someone's got a shot at you, they hit you. It changes. So run, do a kettlebell movement. Run, do another kettlebell movement. Run, do another kettlebell movement. I think you can. Again, you're going to have to focus on the squat, the lunge, the push stuff. But honestly, kettlebell swings might have some value. Heck, I even think in this situation, Turkish get-ups would be really entertaining because, you run, you come in tired, you're breathing hard, and then you have to really, kind of control yourself and get those Turkish get-ups. So my answer would be, yeah, I think you can. And the other thing I want to say about kettlebells that might be ignored by many, but the first time I met actual kettlebellers, and one of them was Steve Maxwell, and I asked Steve, if you had to get rid of kettlebells, what would you miss? And Steve told me, I would miss the grip work it gives me. Anytime you do any of these events that involves pull-ups, climbing, monkey bars, rope climbing, getting over walls or whatever, the Spartan races I'm thinking of mostly, your grip strength is really crucial. So one of the nice things about doing kettlebell swings, kettlebell snatches, the whole ballistic family is it does give that grip a lot of work. So when you decide to bring the bells out, suitcase carry, farmer walk your bells out there, get your work in, farmer walk your bells back. Try to do some farmer walks exhausted sometime. And over time, as you build up the mileage, the kilometer midge, so you get yourself ready for that, so it would be 8,000 kilometers in the race. Build yourself up to that 8, build yourself up to be able to train in between each of those rounds. I think good things are going to happen. And from what I've seen from HYROX, I would love to see it in here in the States. It's exciting, and I hope it makes sense, my answer. So I'm sure you can train with kettlebells, and I think there's some real value to it. The grip training, the ability to take it out to a park. It's so easy to carry kettlebells out to a training facility versus, barbells and a squat rack and a bench. Yeah, I like this. And good luck if you try to do it, okay? I enjoyed that. Thank you.